Hola y bienvenidos angelinos. Welcome back Galaxy fans to the Galaxy Guy podcast. Como siempre, I'm your host Chris Maldonado. Yes, I am back from an extended vacation and I am beyond excited to be coming back today. Coming back with another great show, right? We'll be covering the LA Galaxy's most recent game. Speaking, of course, about the latest El Trafico at the Bank of California Stadium against the bitter crosstown rivals. Of course, that's LAFC, the second meeting between these two teams this season, and the Galaxy remains undefeated. We maintain our honor, and most importantly, guys, bragging rights, right? Because you remain undefeated. Can't say they've beat you. So these matchups are always intense. They're always heated, passionate. And this one was no different, right? We got plenty of that. And honestly, despite both teams being in such poor form going into this, one is far worse than the other, by the way. This match didn't disappoint, right? I mean, it was 6 total goals scored on the night. So expect us to talk about everything that happened. And like always, we'll break down the stats, provide you with the in-depth post-game analysis. We will, as usual, talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this game. So it's a very good episode. It's juicy. I promise you, just like you like it, just like we like it. So to talk about all of that, help us make sense of it all, we have joining us tonight the man himself, Matt Granger, a.k.a. Matt Stradamus, who is never afraid to call it like it is. Matt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling smart. I'm feeling magical. I said that both Cabrals would get a goal and we would get the family brace. Remy got the game winner against Las Vegas Lights. And we all saw what happened with Kevin. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now.
Right on, man. It's always good to have you back. Good to have your insight. And like I said, call it like it is, man. Do not be afraid to hold those punches. So it's good to have you on. Also with us tonight is someone who has been a guest on this show a few times before. The Galaxy aren't the only ones with the French, okay? We have with us tonight our very own Frenchman, Mr. Nate Doty. Nate, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great. That game was emotionally draining, but we're back on our feet here, ready. Thanks for having me again. Love being here. And let's get started.
Awesome. Great to have you on. Also, I have to say, Nate, before we do get started, I have to say, congratulations to you on becoming the newest administrator of our beloved LA Galaxy subreddit on Reddit. As we all know, the Galaxy subreddit is where this show was born. We are the official show of that subreddit. Many of us have been on that platform for like a decade or so. So, Nate, congratulations on that. You're going to do a phenomenal job, man. How does it feel?
Thank you. I mean, I'm so grateful because this is not something that I really anticipated. I just wanted to, act in some way, shape, or form, interact with other Galaxy fans. And it kind of snowballed and got nominated. And I'm always on that forum, which tells you about my life. And really, if anybody is out there and has more Reddit skill than I do, even as a mod, if you check my page, I only have posts in 2 subreddit, which is the Galaxy, and 1 cross post way early in Atlanta United. And I was congratulating a guy, and it was a cross post. And it's that's it. I can't find that comment. I can't delete it. I always want it to be just 1 subreddit, but that slipped away. So if somebody can find that comment, post it, I'll delete it and I'll be clean,
I'm sure someone out there's gonna do it, man. But
I tried, man. I tried.
Honestly, it's been a pleasure being on there on that subreddit for such a long time with you guys. Matt, you've been on there for a long time. That's where we met. Nate, same thing. Casey's not here tonight, but also another one of the OGs from the subreddit. So that's our place, man. That's our community, and I feel like an extension of that community now has kind of reached over and it's like a dual thing that we've got going with the Discord, right? The LA Galaxy family Discord that's run by a really good friend, G-Man, who does a lot of the stat work for us, and analysis and stuff like that. So it's phenomenal. Like the same people that are on both platforms, it's just a lot of activity back and forth. So if the listeners out there haven't joined either of those communities, go check it out. There's going to be a link in this video to the subreddit. There's going to be a link to the Discord. So we'd love to have you be part of the conversation, because that's what it's all about, right, guys? We like to get people involved in the conversation. We don't want it to just be a one-way thing where we're just talking at you for an hour, right? So just that. And aside from that, before we begin, I do have to say it is very good to be back. I was gone for 2 weeks. I missed 2 shows. I'm very appreciative of Casey, who's not here tonight. He's on vacation. But I'm very appreciative of Casey. He took the reins. I'm very appreciative of Matt for being part of those shows. While I was gone, you guys just took the initiative. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And
So
it just,
who
yeah.
approved Casey's vacation? I wasn't aware of. I didn't see his request or anything like that. So
He took vacation time, man. We gave him vacation time. So, we gave him the company card, and he's just out there spending like crazy. So we wish him the best, and I hope he packed plenty of sunscreen, because he's somewhere tropical.
good for him.
Yeah. But in case anybody out there was wondering, I was gone. I took a little vacation, and then last weekend, obviously, I was gone for my birthday. And I do want to say really quick before we begin, million thanks to all of those people who wished me a happy birthday, the folks who texted me or hit me up on socials, especially those with a very special place in my heart. A simple birthday wish is enough for me. And I truly am appreciative of all of you. I feel blessed. It's another year of life. I have a roof over my head. I have my health, friends, which is like the most important thing, simple things. So thanks again. But with that said, what do you guys say we talk about some LA Galaxy soccer?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely yes.
Okay. So first, let's talk about exactly where this LA Galaxy team currently sits in the standings, right? As we all know, the Galaxy went into this match sitting in 4th place after having sat in 3rd place for pretty much the majority of the season so far, right? So, not forgetting that the Galaxy also made a 1-hour appearance at 1st place a few weeks ago, but that was brief, right? So, after this weekend, the LA Galaxy now still sit in 4th place. Nothing changed for us much in the standings. We went to the bank, got our point, and LAFC are still sitting outside the playoff scene. So let me ask you guys, before we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, what would you consider this game for the LA Galaxy? Does it feel like a loss? Does it feel like a win? Or should it feel like just another tie? Nate, what do you say?
It was an emotional tie. So I'm happy of how the team responded. That really was somewhat of a surprise. Towards the end, I'm one to always kind of bash them for late goals. This since 2009, it's just been late goals. Why? And for once, we were the ones scoring that. So that as I was laying it on Cabral during the Reddit game thread, as I was typing it, he scores. I got to eat my words. So it felt good to tie it.
Yeah. I'm assuming you were yelling at your TV in French.
Actually, I was in my kitchen on ESPN. So I was slamming my butcher's block, and and my wife came in asking, "Is everything okay?" And I had to explain a few things to a few people, but we're okay now. We're okay.
All right, that's good. I'm glad Cabral proved us wrong. So it felt, in your opinion, like a bit of a win.
an emotional win.
An
It was an
emotional.
emotional win, and
Okay.
it showed grit. Even though I was not really encouraged by, I was encouraged by some of the subs, but not all of them.
Yeah.
And so to see that goal, I hope it's a catalyst, because
Absolutely.
it changed my perception of what the team is capable of.
Absolutely.
And
Uh,
taking that point is always good.
Always good. Now, I'm going to ask you the same question, Matt. What do you think, brother? Does this feel like a win? Does it feel like just a tie, or should it feel like a loss?
I think Nate hit a couple of good points. I think if you watched the game and you were disappointed, you thought we could have won, and disappointed in the defense, I think that's a very accurate way to feel.
Sure.
And I think that if you were elated that we got the tie, then that's also a very accurate way to feel. For me, it felt like an absolute win. Um, I don't care if we're playing checkers or dominoes, and the only thing at play here is a KFC coupon. I don't want them to win anything. I would rather burn that coupon than give them an inch. So the fact that we stole a tie from them twice when they thought they were going to win, I'm elated about it. I'm super happy. I'm not afraid to say it. I hate all of them. So any happiness that we can
Yeah.
take from them, however momentary, I'm all about that life. I want all that smoke. So no, it felt like a win to me.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the consensus on social media, the way the fans reacted, it felt like a win. Listen, it feels like a win. Sure, LAFC has been a dumpster fire all season long, but they are still a team filled with plenty of talented players. You know, they've been underperforming a bit, right? But they're still a dangerous team, and they always seem to play at their best or at a higher level when they play against the Galaxy, right? So it's never an easy game, as was evident by the 3 goals, right, and going down twice. But the Galaxy went to their stadium. We went down twice in the scoreline, and we still managed to get a point. Stealing 2 points from them at home, essentially, if you want to look at it that way, right? So it does feel like a bit of a win. Nothing to be super proud of, right? But we get to keep our dignity. I get to keep talking trash on social media, right? I get to keep posting my trash talking videos. I will be talking trash tomorrow afternoon in the evening, 7 o'clock on Gio Garcia's show for the post-game trash talk show. So tune into that. But it is what it is. We kept our dignity, and I can assure you without a doubt that this absolutely feels like a burning, stinging loss for LAFC, especially since that was their 8th straight game without a win. To go up twice only to end up tied 3-3 at the very end against your bitter rival, the Los Angeles Galaxy, right? Just another booty burn for them. And it feels and tastes so good. I will be mailing them that casket. Poor Bob Bradley. I'm sure he's losing his job this week at some point. I'm expecting that news on Monday, right? Bob Bradley steps down, or they mutually agree to part ways or something like that. But feels good. Feels good.
Feels really good.
It's history repeating itself.
It's just business as usual for the Galaxy, right? I mean, business as usual against LAFC. But what do you guys say we get into the meat of the sandwich and we start talking about some of the good? We'll talk about the good first, naturally. Nate, you're our guest of honor tonight. Why don't you get us started here? What were some good moments for the LA Galaxy in this game?
Good moments was as far as a moment was the equalizer in the 60th minute, which I really felt coming right after the Rodriguez. It was a golazo. He dribbled 3 guys, put it in a hard corner. That was hard for me to digest, and I really was like, crap. Like we have to bounce back, otherwise it's going to be a slide all the way down to the 90th minute. And we did. We equalized. That was great. I was really happy. My good is still the youngster. Arroyo and Alvarez, I think, impacted the game in a very, very positive way. Kept their head about themselves. I mean, obviously Alvarez came in later in the game, but sparked something. And Julian is always there. is always there. He's always in the action. He wants to be in the
monster. Yeah.
He has the character for that team. And I mean, I want the team to have more of his character. And,
absolutely.
And the good was Cabral. Merci Cabral. Ça fait bien. I felt good. It felt good. So keep going.
It's three goals in 5 games now, right? For Cabral, is that right?
Or two or three.
It's either 2 or 3, but you know, it's trending in the right direction. We've been extremely critical of Cabral on this show. I mean, rightfully so, right? You're a designated player. Matt has said it many times. The amount of criticism you receive should be, you know, based on how much you get paid, right? I mean, if you're making league minimum and you're not performing, okay. But if you're making over $1 million and you're a designated player, hey, let's talk, right? So it does feel good to see him score. There was still a couple moments there that were questionable for him, but trending in the right direction.
I think it was the 52nd, 53rd minute, that header that he had, that was a save. I mean, that could have gone in, and it was a different game. Now it didn't, whatever, but that was his first good spark that I was like, okay, good. We're getting him into the game. And I mean, coming from France, I'm not trying to make excuses here, but does he really understand what a DP does? I mean, I'm sure he comes in like, hey, you're going to be our star guy, come in. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's go. But does he really understand that he has to influence the game? Because sometimes he's just trotting around. And he didn't chase that one ball. Oh, I don't remember what time it was. We all know, right? We all know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. 22 years old. Come on, buddy. You should be able to chase every single ball, right? No excuses whatsoever. You're never going to be as fit as you are now at 22, Kevin. Chase those balls, man. But okay, I can agree with that. Nate. Matt, I'll ask you. What were your good moments from this LA Galaxy team on Saturday?
Well, just go back to the steadfast rule that I'm only going to criticize you based on the equitableness of your salary, also known as the Servando Carrasco rule. I will hold that bar across all the Galaxy community if I have to.
The Servando Carrasco. Oh god.
But my good is just maybe like a thread off of what Nate said.
Sure.
It's all the youngsters, right? So like ever since he's come back from the Mexican national team, wow, like he has just like gone from like cocoon to like butterfly. Like that guy is really putting on a good game. He was hitting good through balls. He comes in with like 14 minutes to go, and immediately makes an impact, which is what you hope he does, right? Sure. You don't want him to come in and then become immediately a defensive liability. Like he changed the game arguably more than Leggett did in the prior 70 minutes or so. He was that much more offense. The second guy obviously is Araujo. I mean, what can't you say about that guy? It's a good thing that Rossi is so small in stature, because he fit right in Araujo's back pocket. I mean, that guy just manhandled him all game long, and all Rossi could do was yell at Chapman, like, why aren't you helping me out, in typical LAFC fashion. And not only Araujo defensively is just a phenom, but going forward, I mean, he has to be, I would say, at least 60 to 70% of our offense at this point. The games in which we get blown out on are games in which Araujo can't get going offensively.
Absolutely.
He is the team, and this is why I'll continue to push that if there's ever a time for the Galaxy to really make a push to try to make it all the way, it's while we have him. I think he's the best right back the Galaxy have ever had. And I think honestly he's a top 5 in the whole, like top 5 player at any position in the entire league. I don't know if there's very many players that are much more impactful than he is, especially when you're considering he's coming all the way from the back end line.
Easily. He's a complete player. I mean, on the defensive side, he's smart. He plays his man so well. He's extremely athletic. On the offensive end, he dribbles past players easily, right? Full grown men. He's like bodying these guys off the ball as a 19, 20-year-old kid, you know? I mean, this game, he went a full 90, ran for full 90, had an assist, had 39 accurate passes, pass success rate of 87%, right? A lot of key passes in the offense, 9 duels won. That was the most out of any other defender, by the way, or midfielder. 9 duels won, 4 clearances. Like, the guy was just all over this LAFC offense. And to be honest with you, if Julian had not shown up this game, we would have suffered a lot worse in this game, because the defense in general was just terrible. So bright spot there with Julian Araujo. I agree with you, Matt. Top 5 easily.
And then the other 2 youngsters I just wanted to highlight is one is obviously Cabral. Well, as you guys have said, he's been on a bit of a scoring tear recently.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the good thing about when you're an offensive player, as any offensive player will tell you in any sport, is you could literally suck all game, but if you score that goal right at the end or you hit that game winner, you're everyone's favorite person. So to Cabral's credit, in the middle of all of us typing angry notes on our own Discords or Reddits, he came through for us and he hit that game tire and made me look like a genius with my predictions. But even more so than Cabral, I would say Dejan Joveljic. Like, man, I am so happy my scouting report was so accurate on that guy. He does all the things I was hoping he was going to do. He's physical, he's fast, he pressures the ball really well, he creates turnovers, and then if you put him in front of the box, he's so physical, he's so determined, he's just going to score. 2 goals in our biggest game. The second goal he scores, I mean, he takes off his shirt, he runs right into the crowd. Like, that guy is just built for the moment. He came here to win, and he came here to do big things. And even more so than just what he can do in the stat line, his attitude is super infectious. We had talked about before about how chirpy he is on the field, how much he gets in people's faces. But I think ever since he's shown up, Cabral has turned a whole new page. You could especially see it in the last 80 minutes of this game, where Cabral was doing things that we hadn't seen him do before. He actually looked emotionally invested. He was coming back trying to play defense terribly, but he was trying to. And you could tell that when he was when they were pressing to score at the end, he was actually trying to get it on, versus just finding himself lost again. I just think that Joveljic's work as a player, his impact, his infectiousness of his personality, I wouldn't be surprised if by next year he's captain. I just think the world of him. So that's my good.
And nice. I'll add to that, because Dejan is phenomenal. Imagine him caring about the crest the way Van Damme used to, and now I want him as DP. I want him leading the team, because he's, like you said, he's great. He's infectious. He's here to lead. And now if he just wants to stay with the team and make damage in the name of the Galaxy, please, let's go.
Absolutely.
And just to get back to Arroyo, just a couple of things about him, because like you said, he's very physical. It's great. And sometimes he gets called for fouls that are not real fouls. And he's gotten some yellow cards that to me are like, okay, but you didn't call it earlier. The ref is kind of, I would like for, as a practice now, anytime the ref blows his whistle for Arroyo, I want Arroyo to tackle the ref the same way he tackled the player to see if it's really valid. I think the ref would have a better understanding of what's happening, because I can't tank it anymore. I'm all right.
Hey man, listen, I agree with you guys. Couldn't agree more. Right. So, but as far as the good, God, I don't know what else can be said that was good. Listen, this match, I have to say this, right? Because in this match, LAFC had a total of 25 shots, 11 of which were shots on target. A true testament, right, to show just how off they've been all season. That so many shots and so little to show for it. 3 goals, right? Now the reason I bring up their shots, okay, because I know people are wondering, why are you bringing up LAFC's shots? I bring it up in order to compare them with the shots that the LA Galaxy took, because the LA Galaxy took only a total of 10 shots, 5 of which were actually on target. But of course, 3 of those ended up in the back of the net as goals. You can interpret that as, this is the LA Galaxy lacking offensive creation, a lack of chance creation. And yes, I would normally agree with you guys. I usually rail on this team, lacking creativity, not a lot of creative offense going. But for this game, I have to choose to see it as the Galaxy being clinical, right? Because those few chances they did get, those 5 shots on target, one of which was so close, that Cabral header that Nate brought up earlier, could have been 4, right? 3 out of 5 is not bad. That's clinical, right? Dejan, that first goal, amazing. He just fierce, right? Fought for that, took it right from the goalie, chipped it in, and the defense couldn't do anything about it. So I don't know. That's a good sign for me, right? That the Galaxy fought hard. They were gritty, didn't get a lot of chances, but the chances they got, they put away. What do you guys think? Was the Galaxy a little bit clinical in this?
Go ahead, Matt.
I think so. I don't think that. Well, I haven't seen the stats. I have to look it up myself. But when the Galaxy win, I don't think they outshoot the other team. Typically, they've been a clinical team all year. If we could create more, then that'd be great. We could score more. But I think we've been fairly clinical. The chances we do get, the shots we put on are very strong, and we typically finish it. That's the benefit of having Chicha, right? When Chicha gets in front of goal, he's a clinical person. It's just about doing it more often now, and then seeing what Dejan and Chicha can do together. But I agree with you. I think it was clinical. Like you said, 4 of those 5. I mean, those are almost good. Those are almost all go-ahead goals, right? Those are all perfect shots, exactly where you want them to be. And like I had brought up last week, Chris, well, you were on vacation. LAFC had like 120 shots, 5 goals in like the last 5 games or something. That's just the way they are. We're not that type of team. We're just different.
Right. Absolutely. So I for this time, listen, I get to choose to see that as a positive. Okay. Especially the magnitude of this game, playing in their stadium, surrounded by their fans, which, by the way, I know they like to brag a lot about, the amount of fans that show up to their game. There's a lot of empty seats in that stadium. There was a post about it on our subreddit. A person that was at the stadium, they're like, there was a lot of empty seats. They got to stop talking all this trash. It's 22,000 capacity stadium. There's a lot of empty seats. There must have been at least 18,000 people there tops. But anyway, Galaxy showed up. Let's talk about.
I think you're way overhead on that attendance.
Possibly. I'm being generous. Yeah, I'm being generous. There's a lot of Galaxy fans there too, by the way. At least
2,000 Galaxy fans and maybe 2,500 LAFC fans.
Possibly. I mean, it's the draw, right? Carlos Vela doesn't play, and he's their biggest star. So I don't know.
3-2-5-2 is more like 3.5 and 5.5.
We have to start counting heads in that section, man, because I'm not buying it. But okay, so we talked about the good. I think we pretty much covered the best of that game for the LA Galaxy. We have to talk about the bad, right? Naturally. So, Matt, no one digs deeper into this team than you when they're doing bad. So I know you don't let things slide. I'll ask you first, what were the bad moments for this LA Galaxy team on Saturday?
I think it's just the defense, right? Like I don't know that I'm going to be breaking any new ground here. Our defense hasn't fixed the issues we had since Miami in the very first game. I think in the very first game I did with you with about the Miami game, I said that the midfield is nothing. It's like running through fog. There's nothing stopping these guys from just collecting a head of steam on us. And when we had talked about previewing the LAFC game, it's you can't let them get fast on you, right? You have to win it back in their half, and our midfield was non-existent.
Right.
I think Victor Vasquez. The unfortunate part about Victor Vasquez, he can break lines. He's got a high IQ, right? The unfortunate part about it is that he's older. He can't play that many games. And in this game, he looked old. Like the game looked way too fast for him.
Mm-hmm.
The midfield just ran circles around him. And then he had to drop further back, right? And when he's dropping that far back, he can't help break lines for our offensive player. So he was completely taken out of the game. Ryan was getting pulled out of position all over the place. He's just doing too much. He's out here being a defensive mid. He's being our holding mid. He's the only guy who pushes the ball forward to the wings. He's just doing too much. And because he's doing too much, we're always out of position. Sega keeps getting stepped on. He's like one bad luck away from being injured again. It just seems like every game he's going down with like some sort of serious injury. Sega and Williams, the pairing doesn't seem to be clicking very well. I don't know that Williams, since he got back from the suspension, is even better than Depew, to be honest. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade. I think
Right.
Depew passes better. He's a better athlete. And Williams has kind of just been like neutered out there. He's so indecisive. And, it's not like he's bad, but the mistakes he does make tend to lead to goals. He's got that like almost like Daniel Steres effect going on. And then like you can't, like, if you're going to talk about the defense, you got to go with like the coup de grace, right? Like you got to talk about Jonah. Like, man, that guy is like, I mean, I know every week we talk about him falling off a cliff, but like he's like accelerating down. He doesn't do, I don't know what he's supposed to be doing out there. I haven't seen him mark a man in like 3 games. Him going forward doesn't make any impact. There's nothing DP worthy about him. He doesn't mark people coming back. He doesn't pass forward effectively. He's just like out there pointing at what other people should be doing, but he's not actually marking anybody. It's like, and then now because he's physically slower, it's almost like he's seen the game slower too.
Mhm.
I'm just like, he's got to be benched, man. And I think the question comes down to whether Vanny is going to have the juice to actually pull it off here,
Right.
because he's not a starter, and he's not a starter against good teams. To Vanny's credit, like he said, he said he put that old goal for him. He said, "I will fix this defense in 3 weeks." I'm going to pray he didn't mean that this was week 1, because that means he's only got 2 more weeks to go. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that 3 weeks starts at the break, since we have a 2-week break for World Cup qualifiers. So I'll give him that break because we're doing better. He's proven that he's a good coach, but man, like he has got a lot to fix. And the fact that we're dealing with the same issues we were dealing with since Miami, it says a lot. It says a lot about him. It says a lot about the defense, but the midfield, god awful midfield.
Awful. And if we get into the stats of this, right? Sega came in those first couple games we saw him when he came into the league. He looked like a very decent defender, right? He looked physical. Then went down with an injury, was out for a couple games, I believe, came back, hasn't looked sharp since coming back. He's looked slow, sluggish. He's
collected a couple of
yellows. He always seems like he's a step or two behind the guy he's marking, and his positioning has been off. I don't know. His pass success rate on the night was 82%, only had 23 accurate passes, out of the back line. That's not very impressive. Derek Williams was even far worse. He had 30 total accurate passes, but 73% pass success rate. That's terrible.
For a center back, that's really awful.
For a center back, that's very awful, especially the way LAFC was pressuring, right? Like you have to be making accurate passes, and positioning was just off. Matt, you hit the nail on the head. Their pairing just doesn't seem to be working, right? There has to be more time played or something. But listen, they have to figure this out before we come back from international break, right? Vanny made some promises here, so we're going to hold him to that. This show is going to hold him to that, right? And if I get my questions in on the press conference, I'll hold him to that, right? I will not be asking him questions. Never mind, but I will be asking him relevant questions. So let's hope they get it all figured out, and let's hope that these guys end up being the defensive pairing that honestly we need, the defensive pairing we thought they would be. Derek Williams, everyone was high on. Sega, everyone was high on. So I think it's there. It's just they need to figure it out, right? The Rubik's Cube or whatever you want to call it. Vanny needs to do that. But Nate, I'll ask you, what were the bad moments for you in this game?
Matt did a great job. So for me to just simplify it, giving up the lead once, shame on me. No, shame on you. Oh, wait, yeah. What? Giving up the lead twice. Shame on us. and really to see it happen a second time was demoralizing. And sure. I was grumbling to myself in my kitchen, and like, we have to respond. We absolutely have to respond, which we did, thankfully, because it was once again a test of character. I'm glad we passed somewhat, but it's almost when the Galaxy score too early, we know we can't keep that lead.
Yeah.
But now, can we actually get it again? And that against LAFC, for all the reason that Matt listed, didn't really happen. We salvaged the point. It's just bad. It's not ugly.
Sure. And Matt talked about Jonathan Dos Santos. That's part of my ugly, and we'll get into that. And I feel like we should transition now into the ugly. But before we do that, just as a little break here between these two segments, Matt, I understand there was a question that came to us from Reddit. Let's go ahead and get through that now, just so we don't forget. We want to be doing this more often. We will be doing this more often because, like we said earlier, this is a double-sided conversation, right? We want that input from the fans, from the various platforms that we go on, mostly Reddit, the Discord, because those seem to be the most active. So Matt asked a question earlier this week on the subreddit. Let's hear it.
So the Galaxy Guy Pod question was, Dejan is a beast and a half. Someone's obviously getting benched. So what's the starting lineup and what's the formation we're going to use when Chicha gets back in 3 weeks? God willing, he does. So the top response, as voted on by Reddit, what came from Not Enough Fire. He said, and I quote, "Sit Jonah down. Dude didn't mark a single soul in the last 3 games, and that's his whole effing role." Also, he only ever passes back to the center back. Leggett has been off, but he played a decent first half yesterday. Anyone asking to bench Vasquez should not be allowed to watch any more Galaxy games. The new kid, which is Efra, has been keeping his form up. 2 goals in 1 game is a great start, but it's all about consistency. Same with Cabral. They can compete for a spot. I don't think Chicharito will come back and play full 90 for a while anyways. Oh, sorry, new kid was Dejan. And that was Not Enough Fire from Reddit. So thank you for your input. Couldn't agree more. I think he hit all the nails on the point. And again, if you go ahead and comment on Reddit or you meet us at the stadium and give us your hot take, we will absolutely read them out.
I think so. And listen, that his response makes so much sense. Jonah should be the one getting benched, but we've talked about this on the show before. I don't think Jonah gets benched simply because he's a designated player. And in this league, you just can't justify benching a designated player. Greg Vanny might want to do it as much as he wants to do it, but Dennis DeClose, general manager, and, maybe even Dan Beckerman won't allow that to happen, right? Because it's a marketing thing. If Chicharito's not playing, you have to have a national team player of the caliber of Jonathan Dos Santos in there, right? So that it keeps bringing the fans to the stadium. I don't think he gets benched. I think Greg has already played his hand and he's already showing us what he's going with. I think he's going to bench Samuel Grandsir. I think he's going to bench him and make him a super sub type of player. I think Dejan definitely stays in the starting lineup next to Chicharito, but I think that's the player that's getting axed from the starting lineup. It's going to be Grandsir, and he's going to be coming off the bench in like the 60th minute or so. I don't know. That might be a smart move. Think about it, right? He's a very fast player, very agile, very quick. You bring a guy like him of his caliber with his speed, fresh legs in the 62nd minute, 65th minute against, center backs in this league tend to be big and chunky, that have been running for 65 minutes. You bring in a fresh player of his speed. It could be a super sub recipe here, right? So I don't know. That might be the way Greg is thinking. So thank you for the question. Matt, for asking that question on the subreddit. There's going to be those questions very often, so look out for them. Give us your answer. We appreciate it. We'll most likely read it on the show. Anything else?
I'd just like to add to your point of not benching DPs. Just for yesterday's game, I don't know if you guys saw what Jonah did after the game, is to go to LAFC fans that wanted to take his picture.
Yeah.
And for that game, I mean, that's that speaks to the caliber of Jonah's clout.
Yeah.
Maybe not his skills, but definitely his clout. So it's can bench him. He draws people.
That's exactly it. I mean, LAFC fans in full LAFC gear, just reaching down, to touch him, asking for an autograph for a selfie. It speaks volumes. And you hit the nail on the head there, Nate. That's the reason he's not getting benched. It's the marketing, right? It's the TV revenue. He's not getting benched. So let's cover the ugly. What do you guys say we cover the ugly? So listen, for me, this has been an ongoing player. It's been an ongoing problem for us this entire season, and it's actually a problem that has followed us for several seasons now. The designated player problem, right? With the exception of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, right? The designated players for the LA Galaxy have been inconsistent in many ways. It's either injury or lack of performance or both, right? Look at the DPs we have this season. Chicharito has now missed more than half of the available games with an injury that it's an injury he dealt with last season. He seems to have re-aggravated it, and it's worse now. Think about it. You re-aggravate something, it gets worse, and he's a year older now. You don't heal the same. He's in his 30s. It's just not the same.
Who's a year older? Who's a year older? You're a year older, right?
I'm a year older.
Okay, yeah, never mind. Sorry.
Oh, I'm way past my prime now. But Chicharito, as a pro athlete, listen, he's past his 30s. He's what, 33, almost, 30 something.
Yeah.
His time is ticking, right? It's injuries at that point are very risky. The Galaxy keeps telling us it's day to day. It's day to day. They've been saying that now for 3 weeks, right? 3 straight games where they've been saying it's day to day. And now they're saying they're confident that maybe for the Colorado game, he'll be back. We've talked about this before, Matt. I don't think he's coming back the same. I think this injury is going to hamper him through the rest of the season. I think that's why they went out and got Dejan, because the staff knew that his injury was that bad. So Chicharito has missed more than half of the available games now. He might be missing a couple more. He's still nursing that. You look at guys like Jonathan Dos Santos, who has been on and off the field all season long with nagging injuries. He has been a shell of his former self, like you guys were saying. On the day, Jonah had a total of 4 duels attempted, which as a defensive midfielder, 4 duels attempted. He only successfully got 1 duel. He won a single duel all night. As a defensive midfielder, just 1, right? He lost his aerial challenges, had 1 aerial challenge, lost it, had a single interception all game long, attempted a total of 0 tackles all game long, had 6 total ball recoveries, which is average at best. Overall, a very lackluster performance from one of our key designated players, playing in such a big, important match like this, to show up and just fall flat like he did. It doesn't reflect well, right? But this has been Jonah most of the season. He's been hot, he's been cold, he's been mostly cold, and he's been injured a lot, right? So Kevin Cabral is a player that we've dug deep into this entire game. Matt has put it on stats for us. He's underperforming compared to other DPs in the same position, other guys in his same position, right? Like, he's underperforming. I know he scored a goal. We talked about this even before we started recording, right? There was a couple questionable moments in the game, like the time he just gave up on chasing a ball that he could have easily chased after and got, right? It's getting there, and he's having chances, but he's still lacking a little bit. He's performing like a guy that you would pay $500,000 a year, right? He's performing like that guy. He's not performing like a designated player should be performing, which is consistent goals, consistent assists, game after game, consistent performances. Hasn't shown that yet. He's starting to get there. He's trending in the right direction, but he's not quite there yet. So for me, that's the ugliest take from this. And it's a problem that has continued, has persisted throughout the season. It's the lack of consistency from our designated players, right? So I know Chicharito was hot when he was hot, but part of his problem is that he's injured, right? And I know that's mostly out of his power, mostly out of his control, but it is a problem. He's not on the field. He's not scoring goals for us. He's not contributing, right? So that's my ugly. I want to hear your uglies, guys. So whoever wants to start first, go ahead.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. So my ugly is LAFC. Y'all suck.
For the official show of record.
Yeah, for the official show of record, you suck. All their fans do is always brag about attendance. Like, we all saw the game. There were more holes in that stadium than there were in our defense.
Sure.
I don't need Mari to come out here and tell me that them filling out their stadiums is a lie. Like, that was obvious. The second part, Stu Holden and the Fox commentary, you're all a bunch of shills. You also suck. I'm the only thing that makes me happy is that you happen to be in LA, so that you could see the people that makes you feel good about yourself choke yet again against the Galaxy. And then finally, for LAFC, look, I'm gonna look deep in the camera for this one. You just need to come to terms with it. Your window closed for you guys to win a championship. It's over. Enjoy the MLS basement. I'm sure your mom and Alexi Lawless still think you're cool. And that's my ugly take.
Absolutely. Look, listen, I presented this week. I was on the Trash Talk show on Thursday, Gio Garcia's show, LA Soccer Hub. I was on there with a very unfortunate kid. I'm sorry. He was like 20 years old, definitely too young to receive the heat he got, right? But I presented on behalf of the Galaxy Guy podcast, on behalf of the LA Galaxy. I presented this coffin, this tiny plastic black LAFC black colored coffin to their fan base. In commemoration of their dead season, because it is fact, Matt, you are 100% correct. Their season is dead. They lost the chance for a championship. They're never going to be as hot as they were in 2019. That was the most dominant team possibly the league has ever seen, right? If they were going to do it, they were going to do it then. There's no way they're doing it now, right? If they weren't able to do it then with a Vela in his prime 2 years ago, with a Vela in his prime, with a Rossi in his prime, everyone here mentally still here, right? They're not going to do it now. Everyone's checked out. We talked about this. Rossi's checked out. You guys talked about this when I was gone, right? You guys were listing all the players that are just mentally checked out or somewhere else, eyeing a move to Europe or back to South America. So you're right. The refereeing sucked too, and I'm sorry, Alexi Lalas, but I put you in one of my videos this week. When you're calling LAFC the super club in MLS, the super club in LA, you're wrong, sir. You're wrong. You played for the Galaxy once. You were the lead head of this Galaxy at one point. Stop it. It's time to stop. It's time to stop.
And then he got fired. Let's move on.
Let's move on. I think it's time. It's time to stop. Yeah. Stu, it's time to move on. The Galaxy hurt you. I know. It's time to move on. But Nate, what do you say, sir? Ugly takes.
One word. Fox. and okay, so we're all piling on Stu, and I mean I don't think Stu likes Stu, so just Alexi, it likes to troll because that keeps him relevant. Okay, good. You found your not your marketing niche, but your broadcasting niche, if you'd like. Your cachet is fading, just like LAFC's hope for a playoff. But not just that. I mean, the broadcast was bad. The commentators didn't do justice, but the broadcast was bad. The cuts were bad. The time that the replay were played were bad. The cut to the stadium were bad. The cut to the audience were bad. Everything was bad. Even the interview for Bob Bradley was bad. It was just a terrible way to market what you're championing as the rivalry, the flagship rivalry for the MLS. And you're literally turning people off. I mean, I wish sometime we just move that broadcast to a Spanish-speaking station, because I think those would really spark a little bit more commentaries. Anyway, that's I had to mute the second half. It was bad.
I agree. And that That first penalty, the refereeing, just got to add that. Sorry, but I don't think that was a penalty. But
here's what I like to tell the ref is that if you wear a badge that says pro, you're not a pro. Anybody who's a pro doesn't say pro. It just like that's what I do, right? Yeah. You don't have to justify it.
You know what the problem is? The Galaxy, they hurt a lot of people out there.
Sure.
They just do. Like you have Alexi Lawless, right? Like he's clearly hurt because we fired him, right? Like the Beckham years should have been his, but he got fired, and deservedly so. Then we have Twellman, right? He never got his championship because of the Galaxy. Then we have Stu Holden. He never got his championship because of the Galaxy. Then you have Alan Chapman, right? Who Don called like the worst ref in the entire world. Like it's just the Galaxy are just used to hurting people's feelings. And you know what? I hate to use it again. I'm gonna eat that up. 2 scoops of ice cream.
Eat it up. 2 scoops, man. Delicious. Let's do it.
I love when these guys cry afterward, all salty.
Oh, dude, I listen. Look, I don't know if you guys can see this, right?
Oh,
look at that. It's delicious, man. I've been drinking this stuff since Saturday. You know, it's a little salty. It's very salty, right? But
stay hydrated, man. Stay hydrated.
So delicious. So delicious. Look at that. LAFC fan tears. So delicious. So, but I think, guys, we got through all of it.
Yeah, no,
we got through all of it.
I think we nailed it.
And just one more thing that happened. I'll bring it up real quick. Maybe I'll make some people more salty, but there was a crazy sub that happened today. Messi came in for PSG at the 60th minute. That is a change of the guard. So we'll see. Now look at that.
This PSG?
These guys. So it's things are happening in FIFA. Things are happening in the soccer world. And it's looking like it's also happening for the Galaxy. Now, I know we talked about whether it was a loss or a win or a tie or whatever, but today I feel really good, guys. So, yeah,
so do I.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what happens when Chicha comes back. You know, we'll see. Is he going to be a starter again? Is he going to be a super sub? Just so, because we have one more year with him, we might need to preserve him. He might have to be a 40-minute back half of the game kind of guy. We'll see. It'll be interesting. MSG Free thinks it on Discord. So
absolutely,
props to him. He's calling it out. He's put himself out there.
Absolutely.
And if Bond listens to the show, thank you, Bond.
Thank you, Bond. He's been on the show. Be sure to tag him. But thank you guys. Absolutely. Matt, always a pleasure having you on, brother. It's fantastic. Nate, thank you, sir, for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And again, congratulations on being a mod for us now on that subreddit. I mean, I know Kevin, KSN, has been kind of soloing that job for such a long time. So it's good that he has help now. And I know you're super active on that sub. So I know you're going to do a great job. You've already been doing a great job. The sub has already been super active since you've taken over. So shout out to all of those people.
Exactly. Thank you to the people that are coming to the sub because I'm just holding the steering wheel. You guys are pressing the gas pedal.
Absolutely. And we'll continue to do that because that's our community. We love it. We're going to make sure that community remains Galaxy centric for Galaxy fans. Continue that conversation, right? So with that said, from us here, from my wonderful guests, from Casey, who's on vacation, Chris Maldonado, the Galaxy Guy podcast, we want to thank you guys for joining us yet again for another show. We'll be back possibly next week or the week after that for another one. We'll see. Have yourselves a very wonderful rest of your week. Thanks again. See you guys.